I think when Andhra and Telangana were bifurcated, there were downsides to it with displacements and a lot of job losses and different kind of challenges that people would have indirectly or directly impacted through it. The bifurcation of 17 districts of Telangana into further 33, I think that came as a blessing, is something that I would personally want to think of, which I think recently even the AP government did that.
Why do you think it's post-COVID that all this sudden thing happened?
COVID by itself is again not a first of its kind. I think the last one happened in 100 years ago. In our lifetime, we didn't see it. So during that time, every pandemic accelerates the need for innovation, for affordability, for advancement in healthcare, for advancement in infrastructure. So I would say COVID was one such shock to mankind where the world went on pause. It gave people time to think, to realign their focus, their goals. And that is what gave people the analysis and the understanding that life is now. We got to live it.
When a consumer today is wanting to buy a house, that particular location matters a lot, right? Obviously.
Absolutely.
So what should he look forward in those locations?
See, for the basic is the amenities that one talks about, or the basic essentials. That would be, clean water, clean air, good infrastructure development, healthcare, connectivity to employment centers. If you're living with parents, the ergonomics that goes into making a home for the specially abled.
Welcome to the 4th episode of Insights podcast by Giridhari Homes. Today we have a industry veteran who's been in the real estate industry since 14 years. Get ready to hear some expert insights on real estate, the real estate growth in the city, AI impacts on real estate, branding, and much more. Hello Rajiv Garu.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. This is the 4th segment of our Insights podcast, and we are thrilled to have you here, and we want to know more about your journey and stuff.
Well, it's a privilege to be here. I'm Rajiv Williams. I am a real estate consultant and a mentor. So I've been around this business for about 14 years. I've seen a lot of how Hyderabad has evolved over the past decade. And I do have various other ventures that I function, but real estate has always been my first love. And I thank Giridhari Homes today for having me on the show. So I look forward to having a fun-filled, momentous,
Definitely.
and enjoyable discussion
Definitely.
throughout the podcast.
Definitely. So, could you tell me how did you get into the real estate thing? Like, how did you start off and all that?
Great. So, as most real estate consultants or mentors, it was a calling.
Okay.
It wasn't something that I got into out of any sort of compulsion, or it's not like I even studied to get here. I was good with people.
Okay.
I was good with communication. I was good with, analyzing things. And ultimately, I found this as my calling, and I've been doing fairly well, trying to, cater to customers, developers, peers, and all the new, graduates who are looking for career options.
Okay.
I'd say real estate is one thing that people should try to, push their kids into, because, that's where
There's a
all
huge
the wealth
potential
is.
in future.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's not perceived in the right manner, but however,
Why do you think it's not perceived in the right manner? Like
I would say it's generational.
generation.
It's generational how people perceive realtors or brokers or consultants or agents. But brokerage has been one of the oldest forms of businesses on the planet, right?
Correct.
From Egypt and BC. So people need to understand. So that's how somewhere along the line, I figured that I want to serve people, I want to help people, and if during the course I'm making money out of it, I think that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's how I work on a win-win philosophy where everyone who's part of my ecosystem makes wealth, creates wealth for others also, and it's a win-win ecosystem.
Okay.
So real estate has been truly enjoyable for me. And after I finished my education in US, after I came back, it's been...
What did you study in US?
I've done my master's in US
Okay.
from San Francisco, California.
Okay. Something pertaining to real estate or something?
Absolutely not. I'm an
Okay.
MBA in international business.
Okay.
So I guess that's what's helping me in running all my multiple ventures. But I never really thought I would end up being a realtor.
Okay.
And hopefully in the next few years, you'll see me as a developer as well. Yes.
So in all your years of like the experience in real estate, in particularly Hyderabad, you have seen the various ups, the downs. So how would you say the market has evolved since like the start of your career to now, the Hyderabad market?
See, real estate traditionally has always been a seasonal business. It's always season driven. Uh, Based on what it was in the then Samaikya Andhra, as they would call it, the United Andhra, and then in 2014.
Has
you
it
know,
changed since the
Of course,
the
I would say. Of
thing,
course.
the partition?
See, like running any organization, when you decentralize departments and you have department heads, and when you have a very strategic, focused approach, it's easy to monitor, it's easy to fund, it's easy to, not get diverted from your long-term goals. So, I think when Andhra and Telangana were divided, I bifurcated. I think that's what basically happened. Of course, there were downsides to it with displacements and a lot of job losses and different kind of, challenges that, people would have indirectly or directly impacted through it. But a lot good came out of it for Telangana and Hyderabad. And I always been a proponent of the fact that the bifurcation of 17 districts of Telangana into further 33, I think that came as a blessing, is something that I would personally want to think of, which I think recently even the AP government did that.
Okay.
They realigned their entire district allocation to further many more, which basically brings in more IAS and IPS officers and increases more law and order and more focused growth in terms of micro markets and demography.
Okay. Decentralization helped in making micro markets. in
Absolutely.
Hyderabad?
I mean, my perspective, yes.
Okay.
So if bifurcation led to displacement, I would say making it a smaller geography, easily to be monitored with more power force from
correct.
The IAS and all the more number of MLAs and the further bifurcation all the way up to your ward member. So when more people come into the administration in each district, I think that is what made it easy for the decentralized control to quickly make decision making right from the top to the bottom.
Correct. You're empowering people at the bottom.
Empower
so
people at the
decisions
bottom.
are more quick, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
So that is my take on it. I wouldn't know if there are so many veterans who would
Interesting.
disagree with that, but that's my take on it.
Okay. So what was your main drive or motivation to get into this field? Like,
See, as I said, as a fresh graduate coming from the US, trying to find a job here, and being faced with a reality shock, which most people, are faced with.
So this was back in the year, when were you back?
2010.
2010. Okay.
And back then, it was either you become a MBA or you do your MSET and you become an engineer. So I came here in a functionally course.
Okay.
MBA is a functional course,
Functional
right? You're not an MS, you're not a master's, you're not MTech, BTech. I'm from BCom background. So I asked myself, like, ఏంటి పరిస్థితి ఇప్పుడు? That was the situation. So being a single child for me, like it was, I come from a fairly well-off background. So it was not like I had to get into a job or I would like die or something. But then I truly wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be able to inspire, to give, to do something. And somewhere along the line, I just, as I said, real estate was a calling. And I started my real estate business in Yadgiri Gutta.
Okay.
Basically.
Interesting. Why there?
So it was part of analyzing what would be the next big thing if Andhra and Telangana divided.
Okay. Yadgiri Gutta means the east of the city, right?
Yes,
East of Hyderabad.
yes,
So
yes.
you chose east.
I chose
Okay.
east.
Okay.
Because Tirupati
Huh.
as a temple destination would go to Andhra. And then we had internal news and all this buzz where we just did our math.
Okay.
What would become the next big temple destination?
Okay. Okay.
And we were already doing some business in that area, but it was not that focused. But along the journey, it made more sense because Yadadri would be the most,
The next.
Lakshmi Narasimha temple, which would be the most prominent destination for pilgrimage
Okay.
and tourism in
Okay.
Telangana.
Okay.
And I guess my hunch went right.
Okay.
We did good there.
Okay.
And from
Nice.
there, I think there was no looking back.
Okay.
And it's been a very exciting journey. And now where we are in the current scenario, I'm hoping for lots more of these suburbs, these pockets to start springing up, because central Hyderabad or western Hyderabad has become so dense and so much of demand due to IT hub and all of that. We need to be giving more emphasis on sustainable living and more,
Correct.
good air and less traffic. And
Correct.
so I guess uh, it just, I'm going with the flow, but it's very focused.
Okay. So what kind of such pockets have emerged in the city? Would you like name a few areas like
A
that?
lot of them over the last few years. Post COVID, it's been rapidly accelerating, I would
Why
say.
do you think it's post-COVID that all this sudden thing happened?
COVID by itself is again not a first of its kind. I think the last one happened in 100 years ago. In our lifetime, we didn't see it. So during that time, every pandemic accelerates the need for innovation, for affordability, for advancement in healthcare, for advancement in infrastructure. So I would say COVID was one such shock to mankind where the world went on pause, which made everyone sit and think. It gave people time to think, to realign their focus, their goals. And that is what gave people the analysis and the understanding that life is now. We got to
Life is
live it.
now.
And that is what gave a boost for people to go out, buy farmhouses, weekend homes, enjoy lush nature, plush green, build cottages near lagoons.
Correct.
And I guess that is one need which, if the previous government, the MAUD minister, since he's back from US, he also brought a lot of that kind of vision into the development of the state and the outskirts, in bringing in certain strategic parks,
Correct.
employment hubs. So I would say it was COVID that made us realize the importance of happiness, wellness, and that is something that people took it.
So that mindset changes trickle down into like the home buying decisions.
Absolutely, it went into the decision making concept,
Decision-making,
and there's this prominent author, philosopher. I think you must have heard of him, Robin Sharma.
Yes.
He keeps professing these four emotional quantifiers.
Okay.
He keeps talking about heart set, mindset, health set, and soul set. Ideally, it's about how. So we start with mindset. You go how your mind needs that kind of peace, that nourishment, that sense of ease, in conducting your day-to-day life, that sense of self-realization. I believe we need to emphasize that in the core element of living, in how our day-to-day life imbibes all these emotional quantifiers.
Okay.
Then you have the soul set, something he refers to, which is how you feel spiritually.
Okay.
The sense of ease of dealing with people on a daily basis. There's stress everywhere.
Yes.
People are bogged down with working 16 hours, 18 hours a day. So I
Now
guess
with work from home, it must be even more
absolutely, and
hectic.
even that,
Yeah.
as I said, before COVID, HRs would be nightmarish when someone would say I'm working from home. The manager would be like, "Isko kaise monitor karenge? How do we know he's working or not?" And after COVID, I think now the HRs are struggling with how to bring them back to work. So globally, I think all MNCs are going away from that. But now the whole concept of coming back to really connecting with the human realm, with our daily life, right? And he also speaks about. So I got soul set, I got health set, I got mindset, I got health set. Yeah, I guess yeah. So looking into our current traffic and the pollution and all of it, I think people need to identify what exactly is required for them to live a long, healthy, sustainable life. So these are the few quantifiers that have evolved over the last 10 to 15 years that I have seen in real estate. Even the consumer behavior has changed. So that is
So
what
when a
today's
consumer today is wanting to buy a house, that particular location matters a lot, right? Obviously.
Absolutely, location
so
is everything.
what should he look for in that location to enhance all what you were talking about, what Robin Sharma is saying?
Correct.
So what should he look forward in those locations?
See, for the basic is the amenities, the basic amenities that one talks about, or the basic essentials. That would be, water, clean, clean air, good infrastructure development, healthcare, connectivity to employment centers.
Correct.
If you're living with parents, the ergonomics that goes into making a home.
Yes, yes.
For the specially abled,
The design.
right?
and
The entire
considering
design
all that,
element
yes,
of it,
correct.
right? And Telangana, for one, has been fortunate over the last decade to have ample of water.
Yes,
I
that is
often am faced with this question. How is Hyderabad blessed when compared to some other
True.
places? I tell people, I think we have a lot of water to start with. We have good rainfalls. There is some conflicting information around that in recent times, which could be controversial. So let me not get there. But
Let's not get there.
Let's not
Yeah.
get there. Let the facts speak. But I would say we are blessed with a lot of greenery. The Harita
So you
Varam
must
project.
have, you like obviously now it's doing the rounds. The information in Bangalore
Hmm.
that they have a huge water crisis
Correct.
looming.
Correct.
So would you say that Hyderabad isn't going to get to that point because of
See,
our
if-
current resources and all that?
See, if I'm going to be
With the current building that's happening, the
Uh-huh.
amount of construction that's happening.
Hmm.
So would you still say Hyderabad is
So that is a very speculative question.
okay?
But if we have to go as per facts,
Mhm.
if we have to go as per the norms of the HMDA in terms of the rainwater harvesting, in terms of the canals or the reservoirs, and how much rainfall has been, how often we've been blessed with it over the last season, and compared to this, I think numbers clearly say that we should be in surplus. I really wouldn't know why we should be in a place of scarcity or in a crisis like Bangalore. But there are certain very commonly visible elements that are putting us there. I mean, if you look at it statistically, we shouldn't be having any crisis like that.
Okay.
But if it is driven by certain interests, we could get into a similar crisis,
Okay.
and it wouldn't be natural. It would need to be artificially induced.
Okay.
So I would say let's keep that for another day.
So coming back to the original question that
Go
I
ahead.
asked, what are the pockets that you've seen have grown since COVID, like the market, real estate market pockets?
So the suburbs is something that have seen rapid acceleration because of the roads and development plan
Okay.
that the previous government had placed, the link roads and the infrastructure.
So would you say everything after the ORR, like coming after the ORR, would be a suburb, or how would you categorize a suburb?
See, suburbs are something like, in common language, I would say whatever is in DTCP.
Okay.
That is my understanding.
Okay.
And if I go beyond that, outskirts, Gram Panchayat.
Okay.
If I come in the fairly reachable zone, I would say HMDA.
Okay.
If it comes in central Hyderabad, I would say GHMC.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my understanding.
Okay.
Right? So in this concept, when I say suburbs, if I would say you have Mokila, you have Kollur, you have your Serilingampalli,
Mm-hmm.
then you have Miapur, Bachpalli have come into that of late. Then you have Kismatpur, Bandlaguda. Then you have your this thing, Shamshabad, right? These places came into the target radar for people wanting to aspire to purchase properties in this area in recent times. Shamshabad did not leave good memories for people 10-15 years ago, right? It took a long time. Now it's one of the hottest destinations,
Correct.
south of
Shamshabad,
Hyderabad, right?
Tukkuguda and all
Right.
that. Yes.
East of Hyderabad may take off post the general elections, given the fact that it had to be given the due credit because of having such a big global landmark, the temple being there, and even the IT corridor that the previous government was planning to lay for the Warangal corridor.
Okay.
Many universities and many IT investments were supposed to be done on the Warangal stretch,
Okay.
the Yadadri Warangal road. So that is something that is set to take off. Then you have your Sri Salem highway. These roads are Tukkuguda. Your Rajiv Gandhi International Airport has a lot of IT parks coming up. GMR Aerospace, Adani Aerospace, all these things.
Correct.
And you have the World Trade Center.
Trade Center,
So much employment is coming up. So inadvertently, you are going to see a lot of demand for affordable housing, and that is what gives rise to these suburbs to be even looked up as a affordable place to park your money is there right now,
Okay.
which will unfold over the next few years.
Okay.
As the famous saying goes, don't wait to buy real estate, buy real estate and wait. So it applies to this as well.
So in the current suburbs, like whatever you have mentioned, what do you think about Kismatpur as a suburb? What do you think its growth aspects would be in the coming future in the next 5-6 years?
Kismatpur definitely has been something in my mind. So even right now when I was coming, I was on a phone call and I was like, hi, I'm going to meet someone in Kismatpur. And I was like, by the time I finished the call, I was like, I got down already. And this was from Financial District. So personally, I mean, I'm not trying to make this up. I've come to Bandlaguda so many times, but the more and more times I keep coming here, it's just a 5 to 7 minute drive is something that I feel. And connectivity, one per se. Second, the vicinity is surrounded by a lot of greenery, lung space.
Lung space,
Be it due to military zones, be it due to your 111 Geo, be it due to so many, your
The university,
Mrugavani Park,
yeah,
your universities,
Agricultural University.
agricultural, correct.
Yes.
So many entities contribute to the lung space, right? And with having a limited availability of land, it is not as dense as Kokapet or High Tech City or Madhapur, because it would take people a lot of time. Imagine each household having 3 or 4 cars, and Bandlaguda is the inverse of it. It has so much of space, so much of amenities. I think all the houses are widely spaced, and people are not going too high trying to cram the whole ecosystem. I think there is a sort of sense of respect that is being given to the natural ecosystem here.
Yes.
There is access to Musi. Her Musi River flows very nearby, and there is so much of scope for having recreation zones. Like you can have your
There is this, our current CM is doing a huge project, right? The Musi redevelopment
correct
thing.
Musi redevelopment
Yeah.
project. Yes, so that whole
How do you think that's going to change the ecosystem in Hyderabad, like real estate ecosystem?
No,
Because
obviously
along the
not just-
river,
not just the real estate ecosystem, the recreational ecosystem,
Recreational.
right? People are going to want to do
Yes.
kayaking,
kayaking.
boating.
Yes, yes.
It will increase people, with their families the evening.
Correct.
When I was a child, my parents used to take me to Public Garden, which was at Assembly right
Okay,
now, right?
okay.
Which was a park where people used to, go out and chill. Now you have people go to Necklace Road, People Plaza, right? NTR Gardens. So the common need, a need for the common man to venture out in the evening to go and spend time with the family. I believe this initiative is going to
Definitely.
feed that need.
Definitely, there's a need for such recreational
Absolutely.
spots across the city.
Absolutely.
They have been growing in the past few years.
Yes.
Like you said, there's this Kajagoda Lake that has
Correct.
become a
Balkam
new-
Cheru.
Balkam
Balkam
Cheru.
Cheru.
So
Correct.
now this Musi thing also would
Definitely.
eventually-
I mean, it would first, the first thing that I would say, need to check the pollution. Dumping of the
Dumping,
nearby waste
yes,
in
yes,
those
yes.
lakes is something that needs to be curbed.
that should be addressed.
Construction of STPs has to come into play, right? Because you wouldn't want to go with your family to such a place where it is stinking and have mosquitoes and further be a breeding ground. So a lot of pre-planning has to be done, which I'm hoping was done in the previous ecosystem, because I heard of this back then also, and it's a good initiative that the current government is further taking it forward. And in that initiative, I would say doing anything new first requires you to unlearn the old.
Interesting.
So our behaviors of how we do dumping into lakes and how we are, further into polluting the environment and eating food and throwing out in the outside the car, this is human behavior. So
Correct.
if Musi is not the cleanest right now already, with more people visiting it, I'm not anticipating it to be cleaner. So those preventive measures have to be taken.
Let's hope they're planning. For
No,
all
they will.
that.
Beautification
Yeah, they will,
definitely
they will.
enhances
Yeah.
tourism. It enhances, like how Durgam Cheru ka bridge now has become the poster for Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. In any movie,
in
you
any
see
movie,
anything,
right?
Hyderabad
20
is
years back, it was the High Tech City ka main building.
High Tech City, and also the Tank Bund, the Buddha.
Buddha statue,
Yeah,
right? I
that
mean,
one.
those are
Typical.
essentially the DNA of
Yeah,
what
yeah,
Hyderabad, right? We still call it City of Pearls and
City of Pearls.
land of biryani. But
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Hyderabad has grown
Much
way
more than
beyond that.
Yes.
IT, pharma, fintech, manufacturing, biosciences, so much startup incubator. I think we should do away with the land
When
of
you
biryani.
go on the flyover across. You go through that Deloitte building and all that.
Correct.
It's like the skyline is so different.
Absolutely,
Like Hyderabad
absolutely.
15 years ago, you wouldn't have imagined all this.
I mean, sometimes I analyze, I realize in the statistics, would you believe that in Hyderabad is second to Mumbai in terms of skyscrapers?
No, I wouldn't believe that. I thought it would be Gurgaon or
No,
maybe
it's Hyderabad.
Pune or okay.
Across India, second to Mumbai in skyscrapers.
Mm-hmm.
So, given the proper infrastructural development and the way the concentric growth of Hyderabad and how the skyways or some new forms of metro is
Yes,
going to
the
make
metro.
the new lines are going
The new
to
lines
ease
are
off, right?
coming. Yeah.
So my point is, when there is more new things that are going to come up and our old behavior is something that we need to check, and that's what is going to further accelerate and truly make sense to all these developments.
Correct.
Else it'll be just people pleasing, and it's not going to really yield the desired outcome.
Yes, there should be proper planning. You can't have haphazard development, or else, again, like currently there's no traffic congestion. Isn't that bad as other cities in India, I would say.
Well, it's something that can be debated out, because
Okay.
I remember many years ago,
Okay.
in density per square kilometer,
Okay.
Hyderabad has far outlived Mumbai, outbeaten Mumbai,
Okay.
because
Could you,
Mumbai
like,
has more
explain?
cars.
Okay. Yeah.
So the number of vehicles per square kilometer in Hyderabad is more than that of Mumbai, because we have more two-wheelers.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Mm-hmm.
Mumbai, each household has at least 3 to 4 or 5 cars.
Okay.
That's why you have such long traffic jams in Mumbai.
Okay. Okay.
Hyderabad, not necessarily that long, but timely because of these two-wheelers that take up that same space.
Okay. Okay.
So the more number of vehicles per square kilometer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So in terms of density, we have beaten Mumbai many years ago.
Okay. Interesting.
That is what I have read somewhere.
Interesting.
I wouldn't know if the metrics have changed.
Okay. Okay.
Given the kind of development we are seeing right now, I think we are constantly going to be that much ahead of Mumbai all the time.
But hoping they with all this development, they also need to plan the infra, the roads, such that these things don't happen.
See, infrastructural development is very, very essential,
Yes,
based on how the town planning
True.
is done.
That is the thing you do before the development.
Correct. The
right?
master
Town
plan.
planning is
the,
very
the
important.
2050 master plan.
2050
there was a
master plan.
2040, 41, I think. Now they're targeting a 2050 master plan. So, what is the need of the new age urban family? How is the consumer going to perceive living what kind of lifestyle 20 years from now,
Correct.
or 30 years from now, or 50 years from now?
Correct.
That's how this planning needs to be done hereafter going forward. We are already seeing 50 floors, 60 floors, 80 floors. I am not going to be surprised if you see a 100-floor building also. Little do we realize, do we need it? Because we have so much of land, we have so much of resources, we have good infrastructure that takes us from one spot to the other through Ring Road in
Yes.
30 minutes, 25 minutes, 50.
Correct.
I said I came from financial district
Yeah,
to here in 8 minutes or 10
Correct.
minutes.
Correct.
I mean, why would you want to go up?
Correct.
Go wide, enjoy the earth, enjoy the facilities, the amenities that Mother Earth has to offer us. And then even if you want to really truly choose where you want to live around what the world has to offer: water, air, decongestion, access to healthcare. If something happens, we shouldn't be stuck in traffic.
Correct.
In the movies, the way you see, right? An ambulance, some loved one is stuck in traffic and you are literally dying to get the traffic eased out. I think we have to be able to sensibly choose what kind of construction and development and planning is something that we need to do for our future generations.
Yes.
Right? I'm a strong proponent of that. So
Okay.
builders truly have to take the cognizance of what they are giving to the society, and not just constructing highly dense communities, which are going to definitely cause very visually deliberate challenges విచ్ వీ కెనాట్ సే అప్పుడు అవుతే చూద్దాం అనేది, ఇప్పుడే తెలిసిపోతుంది అప్పుడు అవుతుందని. సో దాన్ని ఆలోచించుకొని ఇప్పుడే ప్లానింగ్ చేసుకొని పద్ధతిగా చేసుకుంటూ పోతే వీ విల్ లీవ్ బిహైండ్ గుడ్ ల్యాండ్ మార్క్స్.
కరెక్ట్.
రైట్, బికాజ్ ఇప్పుడు కూడా హైదరాబాద్లో కొన్ని ప్లేసెస్లో పోతే సడన్లీ యూ విల్ సీ వన్ బాటిల్ నెక్ అండ్ యూ విల్ సీ వన్ బిగ్ బిల్డింగ్ స్టాండింగ్ దేర్.
Yeah, such things need to be addressed.
And we blame ఎవడ్రా కట్టింది ఈడ అని. But he had constructed that some time back.
Years ago.
The road had come, the road grew into it.
It grew into it.
So how do we, plan such things?
Yeah, again, all this is again planning.
All this is again planning. Yeah. Churches, temples, mosques in the middle of the road. We respectively have to relocate. That's my opinion. When we go into that kind of canvassing, each one has their own perspectives, but it's all for the betterment of the nation, betterment of the country.
Correct.
What we give to our kids.
Correct.
I think we have to rise above all of that and plan everything well, so that we are leaving behind something meaningful to our next generation.
Interesting. So today, if a consumer wants to buy a house, what do you think in that particular project, what amenities or what USPs should he look for?
See, when you buy a home, right, ideally classified, when you say apartment, people call it, a concrete set or something, but it's the people that make a house a home, right? While choosing a developer, firstly, choosing a home starts with choosing who's the person behind it.
Correct.
What's the delivery track record? What's the bankability? A brand.
Okay.
Like building a brand.
Correct.
What's the bankability of that brand?
Correct.
Right? What is the legacy behind that brand? What is the vision, mission and values about that brand?
Correct.
This is what is basically emulated into a concrete structure. Right? And even that requires a lot of planning. Right? It's not just a vision. Meko ye karna hai. No, it doesn't happen like that. Right? A lot of parties involved. A lot of
people involved.
Experts involved. A lot of brain power comes into manifesting a project and taking it to reality. So all of these that start from the planning phase all the way up to the execution phase, then how the purchaser or the home buyer chooses it. Firstly, where it is located. You could probably look at how far it is from your workplace. Secondly, how personally effective it is to his ecosystem.
Okay.
Where his kids go to school, where his spouse goes to work. Does he get the right kind of social infrastructure? Does he have access to good connectivity? Clean, something as simple as garbage disposal. How are the roads and the social infra and the parks in that area? The local the local administration has a lot to do with this, right?
Correct.
You can't blame the guy at the top for everything. And obviously these basic things of having clean water, rainwater harvesting pits, people who are committed to sustainable living, all this I think is something that starts with the promoter and how he perceives on what he wants to push out.
Correct.
Or put forth to the home buyer in terms of the value proposition.
Correct.
I think today's consumer is extremely vigilant.
Correct.
Extremely
well
sharp.
Informed, very well
right?
informed.
Well informed. We can't really just sugarcoat with fancy English and colorful brochures and they know their they know their stuff, right? RERA has come into play. There are so many very well qualified influencers on social media also who put out everything for consumers to absorb.
Correct.
Right? I think everyone should view all that content and be well informed, and then make the right decision. Going in terms of the approvals and there are so many factors. I mean, it's never really done. We could
The
just go
legality
on.
of the land, all that.
Of course, I mean, legality of the land is the basic thing, which is not a customer problem, which is basically a builder problem.
But the customer should also be vigilant and have it.
See, that would again raise a question. If you have a LP number and a RERA number, would you still blame the land? Would you still want to be keen on the land? So how? So the customer would then say, RERA number ochina kuda land litigations undochi andi. So who's at fault?
Okay, so with RERA incoming and all that, all these are there's no chance of such happening after a project gets.
See, I wouldn't say there's no chance. The point is, where does it stop?
Okay.
Where does it stop? when does the customer truly believe that this is the ultimate paramount? If RERA is there, I can buy it. That's how we are selling it.
Correct.
But what if there is a private family suit that comes into suddenly a brother and sister claiming the land of the villas and there's a case on the survey number? How does RERA address that? How does RERA address projects being delayed by 7, 8, 10 years? So customers needs to analyze how bankable is RERA.
Okay.
Like olden generation, our parents, they would say, a home loan from LIC, okay, the project is good. If that project is approved by SBI, it is
it's
good.
a good project.
Right?
We get that a lot.
Correct?
as
You get
developers,
that a lot. SBI leda mee
Yeah,
daggara
yeah.
kaadu. But people don't understand. So there are some benchmarks that have been formed.
Benchmarks, yeah.
We are part of this ecosystem and sometimes we do it for the customer confidence. But ecosystem of real estate is so vast that it becomes extremely important for the promoter and the customer both to be extremely vigilant in choosing the right kind of builder, right kind of project, right kind of banker, right kind of broker, right kind of interior guy.
Correct.
Right? I mean, there's so many moving parts to it. You're never going to be able to get the whole thing at a Six Sigma level, right? So it becomes in Hindi lo oka samet undi. They say ఛాంచ్ బి ఫూక్ కే పీనా దేసే. అంటే ఎంత భయపడి ఉంటాడంటే ఒక కన్జ్యూమర్ లైక్ కోల్డ్ బటర్ మిల్క్ కూడా వేసి తాగుతున్నట్టు. బికాస్ దే బర్న్ దేర్ హ్యాండ్స్.
They burn their hands, yeah.
The ideology
But
or the
with
axiom.
the coming of RERA and all this, the regulations that came, it has improved it has made the industry more organized, right? Would you say
Absolutely. Even the broker
Since
fraternity,
before,
the broker fraternity, we had a meeting with the chairman of RERA, Mr. Satyanarayana, and he had proposed that all the brokers are supposed to be RERA registered and to be pushing out or selling or doling out extremely compliant projects through our platforms and not to promote projects that are not compliant. And trainings are going to be pushed out very soon. Very soon we are going to have compliance based training for realtors.
Okay.
Like if you know in the west, I mean you lived in Boston and you've come, so even to park your car there as a valet, you need to be a certified valet
everything is
attendant,
certified
right?
there.
Everything is certified. And
especially real estate agents, you have to get your license. It's one whole big process over
that's
there.
a default because you have all the big names of the world
big names
there,
of the world.
right? But in Hyderabad or in India, as a matter of fact, there are some challenges around RERA. Every state has its own RERA, and I'm part of an association called HRA, Hyderabad Realtors Association, which is a subset of a much larger association called NAR India, National Association of Realtors of India, and we are representing a thought that one nation, one RERA.
Just for the aspiring realtors out there.
For the realtors,
how do you how do you join this? Like if some realtor who's watching this wants to join these organizations, how would he?
See, to become a part of such an organization, firstly you would need to pave a path or find your calling, right? It's a very personal thing, like soul set, Robin Sharma, the soul set. Find out what do you want to do. Those who join real estate for money, don't join it.
Okay.
Don't join it. You have to be customer centric.
Okay.
Like I saw a video by Jeff Bezos around 10-15 years ago, and someone asked him, initial 10 years or 7 years of your company, you were running in losses. Who was funding a company that running into losses so many years? He said, my investors repeatedly saw or believed in me that how important customer service was for me. And today Amazon has become this mammoth because of the convenience that it has provided. So every feature of Amazon is literally around our convenience.
Yes.
Similarly, when a young lad or a young woman aspires to become a realtor, there has to be a calling. It has to be able to facilitate a transaction, because a person is bringing his lifelong earnings and trust and faith and dreams and aspirations and hopes and putting it in your hand.
Correct.
right? So there's a very noble backdrop to this entire thing. And just merely wanting to join HRA and NAR, we have qualifiers and filters.
Okay.
So it's not for everyone. You'll have to probably start with working with someone like me or in the industry and build your way up
But
there.
more than these qualifiers and filters, the mindset is more important, you're saying.
Absolutely.
For a realtor.
Mindset.
To be successful, obviously.
Mindset, intention, your communication skills. What is it that you've here? What are you here to accomplish? I mean, what are we here to accomplish? There's an agenda here. We are trying to educate people. We are trying to give out information. We're not trying to sell anything here. Similarly, in sales, I tell people, the best way to sell is don't sell. Right? You inform, you educate.
Inform.
People know where they want to put the money.
People want to make informed sales. They want to be informed nowadays.
You'll be surprised if I tell you, people want people who they can trust.
Correct.
It's a trust deficit. It's not the shortage of projects. It's not the shortage of money. It's not the shortage of anything. People want people who they can trust.
Correct.
They don't find them. Everyone has agendas. Everyone has a certain thought process, which I can be a fake person for maybe 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, but I can't prolong it.
Correct.
For hours, weeks, months together. And usually real estate transactions are so long that somewhere along the line, if someone is trying to be fake with you, you often smell it.
Yes.
But until then, it might be too late. True. You may have already traveled with them, put down a down payment, traveled, looked on a house. So I would suggest, look for compliance, find those trustworthy people, look them up, do some research, right? Kind of how you would put your baby into the right school before you go around buying those admission forms, checking how good that school is and all of that. I think each one should do that due diligence before. So coming back to again that whole big discussion that you asked, how do people choose their project? So it is just the tip of the iceberg with lots more things.
A lot of factors. It's a very big decision, long-term decision for the consumer.
I mean, let's take it to fact that it's the only business that has the word real to it. Right?
That is very true.
It's as real as it gets.
You can see everything. True. So, from a developer's perspective, like today in the city, there's so many new developers, so much competition. So how would a developer use branding, marketing, digital marketing, all that have come to promote himself and get establish trust and be a successful developer?
See, it's become a basic these days. Digital marketing, how it evolved over the years, where it is versus where it is today to where it is going to be in the next decade. It is the basic. Because we wake up to our phones.
Correct.
We go to bed with our phones. Phones have become our ecosystem. Kids these days, pre-COVID, we pulled off the tabs from our kids, and during COVID, we gave it to them. So digital space is being occupied by all and sundry, right? From a 3-year-old to an 80-year-old sitting at home, just liking pictures of grandchildren or sharing God's photos or something like that. All that is happening. So digital space has become the most critical place for everyone to be there.
Correct.
Next level is how efficiently are you able to drive your intentions clearly in terms of a medium of mass communication to the people, to the masses. How are you trying to position yourself, or what is it that you're trying to offer? So every builder and developer is on digital media these days.
Yes, they are.
They're all selling the same, how do I say, we are luxury, we are premium, we are, bespoke, we are, something. So again, it comes down to the vision of the promoter from top to bottom.
Yeah. The
sales staff, the HRs or the tools, the tech tools, AI, the buzzword these days.
Correct.
The AI integrated with digital marketing. That's where we are going. I heard the CEO of NVIDIA use a very beautiful statement yesterday or in the recent press. AI is not going to take your jobs. The people who use AI are going to take your jobs.
Very interesting.
So you have to be ahead of the curve.
Correct.
And real estate is there in terms of trying to put their best foot forward. And I think that is where RERA and all these regulatory authorities have put a hard stop, where you are not allowed to project or promote projects without the RERA number. But I believe RERA is doing a fairly good job, because I see a lot of promotions happening, and recently, there's a bulletin that so many builders have been sent notices to, and there's an audit actually that's supposed to happen, and fairly enough, timely, repeatedly, we see some work happening. So I wouldn't say
The action is happening.
I would say action is happening. I wouldn't say there's a lull there. Action is happening.
Okay.
But it is something that leaves us wanting.
Okay. So like in today's consumer, like as you're a sales agent, do most sales are still driven by traditional marketing mediums, or do most people buy through digital, or it's like a whole ecosystem?
It is an ecosystem,
It's
I
a
would
whole
say.
ecosystem.
Yeah, you can never really say. So it requires analysis.
You can't say a sale came from this particular source. It's like a whole ecosystem around it.
So it's like a hub and spoke. It's like a hub and spoke. So so marketing is the subject. So how much you spend on your media, how much you spend on your podcast, how much you spend on your theater inserts, paper inserts, brochures, activities. So it's all the whole ATL, BTL of marketing, right? For those who don't know it, you can Google it. ATL, BTL.
What is ATL, BTL?
Above the line and below the line marketing. It is like classified into your digital space and the real space in terms of print media, your stalls, outdoor marketing per se. And ATL is everything that goes online in your radios, your digital media and print. Not the print, the digital media. So in that sense, you are not akin to be able to generate all your revenues from any one medium of communication.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, let's say you allocate X as your budget, and you're asking your marketing team, what's the derived output? And of course, you will need a tool. You have very smart tools these days, with technology playing a very important role in real estate. You have your CRMs, right?
ERPs,
right?
and all.
ERPs and all of them. So that gives you a trickle down on the spend done in each medium.
The analytics is very important.
Analytics is very important. I mean, going forward, not that real estate has not adopted it already, but it's going to become more and more crucial for us to be completely data-driven, analysis-driven, metric-driven. And I think AI is here to make our life easy in that direction, because so much of data is processed in
Seconds.
Very short time, and it becomes faster for us, easy for us to take those quick decisions. And that is when the analysis of all of that gives you the true ROI on how much you have spent in which medium, and which medium has actually worked on for you. There are many traditional real estate organizations who traditionally stick to a set bunch of channel partners, real estate brokers, otherwise known as various names, agents and all that. And there is another set of organizations which completely work only with digital space, or have their own in-house sales teams. And there are another category of builders who work with both. If you do your analysis in the market, the ones who are using both the mediums are often doing pretty well than these two.
Okay, interesting.
Because they get the best of both worlds.
Correct.
And it also is a medium of employment. See, when you look at a realtor, when you look at the DNA of a realtor, there's a huge bandwidth of skill sets. Like there's no entry barrier per se, as I said. That's why RERA is now planning to take exams to make sure that the right people are able to deal
Make
with
it more organized.
Make it more organized, get the structured, get the right qualified people in. But predominantly, if you see, real estate has no entry barrier.
Yeah, anyone can
even
sell.
Right now, even a typical broker can just pay 10,000 rupees and take a RERA license, right?
Correct.
That is not a qualifier. But there are certain checks there also. Have you done this? You have to have a cover letter. You have to do so many things. So this is going to become more and more difficult as days go by. And how we analyze which ecosystem works better for the builders and the channel partners. And the channel partners also have come of age. That whole ecosystem of just trying to push something, being a product pusher, like direct sales. We've evolved.
Okay.
Even we use a lot of AI tools. We use a
Okay.
lot of CRMs,
Okay.
retargeting, algorithm based.
Now, how much has AI infiltrated like your area?
Oh,
Like
a lot,
current today's times?
a lot already.
Okay.
AI has already become the norm.
Okay.
From creating fancy visuals to having how do I say, right, the audio visuals, the
Correct.
content media per se.
It's a very helpful in designing all that.
I mean, it cuts time.
Cuts
It cuts time, and as long as you understand how to give it the right prompts, right? You've heard about the word prompt engineering, right?
Prompt
So you
engineering,
need
that's the
to
thing, yeah.
be able to utilize AI to give you the right kind of output.
Correct.
And if you're committed to it, dedicated to it, and I think AI is a world of opportunities that truly, as I said, if you don't know how to use AI, someone who knows AI is going to come and take your place.
Okay.
So AI has helped channel partners, realtors, brokers level up their game, and I would recommend most people to take up some courses on generative AI
Okay.
to understand. Even at my level, I have subscribed to some programs.
Okay.
I want to be able to just understand better what this is, because I have a team, of course, who does this with us. But then when they're talking to me, I need to understand what they're saying.
True.
So I'm also in constantly upgrading. So every person, irrespective of age or profession or background, has to have a basic understanding of how AI
Okay.
is going to evolve.
So like as a developer, how can a developer use AI to give better value to the customer? Make a better product for him. Like how can he inculcate AI?
Beautiful
in his
question.
Company or
Beautiful
processes.
question. So, based on what are your key metrics that you consider while doing a product selection, it is basically data.
Yes.
How do you procure that data today? Who's analyzing the data for you? Who is that authority who's giving out reports to you that this area is good, you can do this here, it will ramp out here? Until you sell out an entire project, do you know the chances of the success or failure of that project?
No. And
What if AI were to give that to you? What if AI were to comprehend demographic data of top 10 cities of the world and how they have evolved, and what if your location matches the bandwidth or the path of that city? Wouldn't you be able to project the success or failure of your project if it matches those benchmarks?
no. Correct.
It's just like a movie, like a Puri Jagannath movie, or like a Rajamouli movie. How do you
So
know
the
the movie
potential is limitless
you
on
cannot,
how it can be
cannot
used.
fathom oodles of data, customer data, their buying behaviors, the kind of infrastructural evolution that particular area can have in the next 20 years. It will draw a map to you. If you just give it a canvas, it will tell you which areas are perfect and how you can even do town planning with AI.
Yeah.
Town planning can be. Why not? Why not?
Why not? The potential is limitless.
Why not?
Yeah.
Who would have imagined 100 years ago Tesla saying that you will have a device in your hand and you'll be able to make calls with it? I mean,
Correct.
so today, whatever we are speaking may seem like exaggerations. Those things will come into reality while we are still here, not long after we are gone.
So it's going to be very fast. It's not going to take a long time.
Very fast. I mean, the world post-COVID came into whatever we are. Again, I will say, someone out there should listen to this and just make like AD and BC. You should make before COVID and after COVID, right? So whatever was supposed to organically happen in 2024 or 28 or 29 happened in 2020.
Okay.
That
short span, those many events happened.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The progressive growth of whatever was supposed to happen a decade later has happened now. You can clearly say in 2024 you're actually living 2034 and 2050. That is why even your town planning is projected at 2050 and not 3031.
3031, yeah.
Because things are growing so fast, you are always going to be one step behind.
Correct.
So unless you are one step ahead, you can't take care of what is coming.
Correct. Interesting. Okay.
So AI, as I said, so the very vast subject. I mean, I might sound a little vague here when I say this, but drawings, space management, right? How you plan your kitchens,
Correct.
how you plan your furnitures. Like I just remember this one particular quote by Henry Ford. He said, "You can have any car as long as it is black."
Yes.
So if you give already my one technology has come into creating load bearing walls and proper space management, right? What if you design through AI most preferred ways of furniture placement in households?
Yes. Yes. These will definitely drive value
Right.
to the customer.
And then you are selling homes with furniture also tomorrow.
Correct. Correct. Also, AI can also tell you what kind of amenities or what kind of facilities the customer needs
Absolutely.
or wants, because there are so many facilities that we give, but people rarely use it.
So I mentioned earlier on in this conversation to you how the needs of an urban family are always growing every 5 to 8 years.
Correct. Correct.
Right? If you have a baby who's 3 years old,
As you said, the world is very dynamic. So
right? How the baby will live when it's 7? What are the needs of the baby when it's 14?
okay.
What are the needs of the baby when it becomes a teenager and it's an adolescent, when it's 21? So the ecosystem constantly has to keep changing.
Correct.
And to be able to build ecosystems and communities that cater to that entire bandwidth is what needs to be focused on today.
Correct. Yes.
So how you have homes or communities that are made for multiple generations to thrive in one community or in one locality, that is what is very essential today for developers to focus on. I'm a huge fan of this one thing I saw in the US, the pavements.
The pavements. Yeah.
The ingress,
The beautification and all of that.
not even the beautification, the very base level, the pavements at the starting, at the ending of the corridor are flattened for wheelchairs to come up.
Okay. Okay.
If you've noticed, because living there, it becomes a norm.
It becomes
We
a
don't
norm.
notice, right? At the traffic booth, you just have to press the light for us to go. These little
Crossings,
disciplines,
the crossings, right.
these
Yeah,
little
yeah.
disciplines,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
That used to tell the counter, it used to speak loudly. 5, 4
Yeah,
for
correct.
the blind people.
Okay.
Do we have that here?
Okay.
Some places. India being such a big country can procure that technology at much lesser the cost because of the economies of scale.
Correct.
And all key junctions should have that. These are some basic things that we can do for betterment of our society, and this is what communities need to bring in.
Correct.
How the specially abled
Correct.
are handled, crutches for kids, working parents,
Correct.
right? Is it truly I hear a lot of people saying senior living friendly. Why are existing communities not senior living friendly? So
Interesting.
you need to understand
The needs.
the needs. I mean,
Yes. You
you're
need to
gonna
be
live
more
with the-
customer centric.
As
It's
I
not
said,
like before.
As I said, Atiti Devo Bhava. Your customer is your God. Some
Correct.
people define, some people, don't really go with that concept. I've heard some people who say, I'm giving you the opportunity, so I'm God. Strongly differ.
Interesting.
So if you are catering to the needs of the person, the chances of doing all this relationship building, rapport building, planning, all this ultimate makes sense if that guy is happy.
Correct.
Right? It's not a mental war here. People buy out of emotions. People buy out of love. I mean, a guy when he walks into your apartment complex searching for Han 2 BHK చూస్తున్నా, he knows what he wants. Why does he need you there to sell him anything? You give him a brochure, he'll read everything, no? Why does he need you there?
That human touch is necessary for the trust and all that.
Absolutely. These touch points, so the guy knows what he wants. He's buying you. You
The whole
connect with him.
experience of him sale, buying thing, all that matters.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Correct.
It's not an over-counter sale like you sell a phone and you go like, ma'am, go to iPhone service center in Secunderabad. It's not like that.
It's a huge purchase.
It's a huge purchase also. So there are so many elements of, I tell my people that you have to be a good human being first. And that is a generic thing, right? You can't be someone with conniving agendas and try to be sane. It will show, as I said.
Correct.
So you have to be very clear intended in how you are building these communities for your consumers, and it has to be very, very
Well thought.
well thought,
Well thought.
very well thought. I mean, for your baby, for your wife, for your child, for your father who has arthritis. How is he
Yes.
going to, handle that?
Correct.
So I've seen a lot of the companies currently in Hyderabad. They are in that direction. Hyderabad real estate has taken a huge leap, and I've been to one of your projects as well, and I was a huge fan. The art, I believe, truly, and
Thank you.
I feel more people should do this, and most people are not doing it. There are few people who are on it, like in Hyderabad real estate or in national Indian real estate, we call Cat A, Cat B, Cat C, Cat D developers, categories of developers.
Okay.
Based on projects completed, timelines, bankability, so many other factors that credit rating agencies
Credit
and
rating.
banks use these jargon. But for us, it is how happy the customer is on his grah
That's a big metric on its own.
on his grah pravesham,
Yeah,
on his big day, so that's what it counts.
Yes. Thank you, Rajiv Garu. It's been very insightful, the podcast.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, definitely very glad to have you. Hope we have more episodes with you later on.
I look forward to it.
Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time homebuyer, I hope all the insights and knowledge that was in the podcast can help you navigate better in the ever-evolving and dynamic real estate market. Please subscribe for more. This is Rishi signing off.